This is Queen Kenya Afia Bezra, and welcome to my channel. Today we have TikToks that'll make you say, Some are scary, and some are just outright bad.
Reality glitches caught on camera.
This ring in a box. I'm like, oh shit, my ring fell off. No, it didn't. It's the same. I'm shaking. It's so weird.
No. My fear is happening. My fear is happening of not being able to get to my car in a parking garage. There's my car. Yep, okay. If I go down that way, that brings me down. So, I'm walking up. But when I round the corner, nothing.
Can somebody please explain to me how I'm sitting here doing my little thing, making TikToks. I'm looking on my desk and I see this. What the hell is this? What is this? Because it looks like it's my nails, right? Girl, I've got all my nails. And I want to specify, this is the first time I have ever had this design.
Have you ever seen the clip of Obama giving Biden the Medal of Freedom? Doesn't look like he's very excited. In fact, he looks terrified. Now I'm gonna let you watch this, and I just want you to look at his face. He doesn't look like a man holding back tears of joy or excitement. He looks like a man that's terrified and about to lose his soul, perhaps. What's this Medal of Freedom really about? Is someone being let free into him? I'm going to show you another clip after this that kind of goes along with what I'm saying. Like I said, he doesn't look like he's excited. He looks terrified. Now I know we live in a spiritual world, and I can't say for sure what's going on here, but I have my suspicions. And I want you to watch this next clip, like I said, and also look. That's original Joe. You can tell by those.
I don't care if you think I'm Satan reincarnated.
And maybe I've been going about this wrong the whole time. Maybe Jim isn't wearing a mask. Maybe they're just shapeshifters. Have you ever seen this clip?
Clint Eastwood.
I don't care how good you are at manipulating your face. There are just certain things that human faces can't do, and he seems to be demonstrating them to me. Moving parts of your body and your head that just don't move. I don't know if there's some sort of technology going on here or they're literally just shapeshifters, but watch this. These parts of your body don't move. Now I know I can have some wild theories, but I try to not speculate too much. This one's clearly speculation. But the end goal is to get you guys thinking outside the box so you can understand your reality better than you currently do. Because I would venture to guess that the reality you guys think exists is much, much different than you really think. But as always, this is just for entertainment. I'm sure this is just a perfectly kind gesture and these guys are just normal human beings. Nothing at all sinister going on here. Entertainment purposes only.
This teenager burned down the house of an innocent family because he thought they stole his iPhone in August 2020. His name is Kevin Buey, and he was 16 when he stole the lives of a Senegalese family after he used the Find My iPhone app to mistakenly track his phone to the wrong house in Denver, Colorado. Along with his friends Dylan Seibert and Gavin Seymour, Kevin organized an arson attack on Jabril Dial and his family, resulting in the deaths of 5 people, including 2 babies. Just 2 minutes before the attack, the teenagers could be seen walking around with dark hoodies and masks, along with a can of gasoline that was used to start the fire. Police found the suspects after using a search warrant asking Google for the accounts that searched for the family's home before the attack. The home was Googled 61 times and traced back to the criminals using their IP addresses. Kevin also sent Gavin a disturbing message on Snapchat, which said, #possibly ruin our futures and burn his house down. Dylan and Gavin pleaded guilty to second-degree murder and received sentences of 10 years and 40 years, respectively. However, Kevin is facing 60 years in prison as the mastermind of the crime. He will receive his sentence on July 2nd, 2024. Rest in peace to the Dial family. Follow me for more true crime stories, and it's disturbing how... Imagine losing your life at 17, all because you rejected a man's advances. This tragedy happened to Raylan Cameron in October 2022. Raylan had just graduated high school and was enjoying a party in Brooklyn, New York, when she was approached by a man named Javon Duncan. Javon started flirting with Raylan, but when she rejected him, he pulled out his firearm and shot her once in the chest. Javon ran away before the police arrived, and Raylan sadly passed away at the hospital a few hours later. Witnesses at the party said Javon kept pointing his weapon at other women and clicking his safety on and off. They warned him to stop joking because it was dangerous. Police investigated the crime scene and found a shell casing which matched Javon's weapon. They also received security footage showing him leaving the building after the shooting. He was arrested 2 weeks later and charged with Raylan's death. He was eventually convicted of manslaughter and sentenced to 15 years in prison on May 21st, 2024. Rest in peace, Raylan Cameron. Follow me for more true crime stories. And it's scary too. Bob Marley's wife stopped a speeding bullet with her dreads to escape death in 1976. Marley and his band were rehearsing at his home in Jamaica when 7 gunmen broke into his home with automatic weapons. They shot at his wife Rita, and she received a bullet in her head, 1 inch from her brain. Luckily, her dreadlocks were so thick that it's believed they stopped the bullet from being fatal and minimized the impact. The gunmen also shot Marley, his manager Don Taylor, and a band member named Louis Griffiths, but luckily everyone survived the attack. The perpetrator of the crime was the notorious Jamaican gangster Lester Lloyd Coke, commonly known as Jim Brown. Brown was allegedly ordered to assassinate Marley in an attempt to halt the progressive messages in his music. Despite the attempt on his life, Marley will perform at the Smile Jamaica concert on December 5th, 1976, just 2 days after the attack. Rest in peace, Bob Marley. Follow me for more survival stories, and it's amazing how... This medical student was left to die after his friend pushed him into a lake in April 2024. His name is Christopher Gilbert, and he was hanging out with his friends at a lake in Louisiana when he was pushed into the water from behind. Christopher didn't know how to swim, and in this video, a group watches as one person attempts to save him, but he remained underwater for more than 10 minutes. It wasn't until a good Samaritan named Dawson Faust rushed over to save Christopher. Despite not being a part of his group, Dawson managed to pull Christopher out of the water in time. He was rushed to the hospital and put on life support as he suffered significant brain damage. Doctors said he was nearly brain dead and his organs were starting to fail, but he has since made a miracle recovery. He was taken off life support, and while he's not able to speak, he communicates through hand gestures and is starting to eat again. Police investigated the situation, and his female friend admitted to pushing Christopher, but his friends denied, knowing he couldn't swim. Christopher's mother, Yolanda George, says she doesn't believe their story, as Christopher always joked about not being able to swim. The incident was initially characterized as horseplay, but police are continuing their investigation. Follow me for updates on this story, and it's terrible how... This is Desiree Gibbon, a model who was mysteriously murdered in Jamaica on Thanksgiving in 2017. Desiree was known for acting in Blue's Clues and aspired to go to film school in Europe, so she decided to do some bartending in Jamaica to save up for her dreams. She lived at a hotel owned by her grandmother and was last seen alive heading to a Thanksgiving party on November 23rd, but tragedy struck when her body was found on the side of the road 2 days later. Desiree's throat was slashed from ear to ear and her spine was severed from her body. There were no signs of escort assault, and it was clear that she didn't go down without a fight, as she had defensive wounds on her wrists. Police launched an investigation into Desiree's death and didn't have any leads for 2 months until her aunt received a call on Desiree's phone. When she answered, there was silence on the other end. A few hours later, her aunt missed another call from Desiree's phone, but when she called back, the number was disconnected. 2 years later, police found male and female DNA on Desiree's body, but the evidence didn't lead to any suspects. Her murder remains unsolved to this day, and her mother, Andrea Gibbon, believes Jamaican detectives have not done their due diligence on Desiree's case. In an open letter to the Prime Minister of Jamaica, Andrea said that detectives deleted Desiree's phone records, and she was told they were not useful. Rest in peace, Desiree Gibbon. Follow me for more true crime stories, and it's disturbing how... This is a picture of a convicted murderer smiling after he survived lethal injection 18 times in 2009. His name is Romel Broom, and he was sentenced to death for the kidnapping, escort assault, and murder of 14-year-old Trina Middleton in 1984. He was also convicted of 3 previous assaults and attempted murders and was scheduled for execution in Ohio. However, the executioners were not able to insert the lethal injection needle in his veins after 18 attempts. At one point, a needle stabbed his bones. A federal judge pushed the execution back 2 weeks, but Romel's lawyers argued that a second execution attempt was unconstitutional. His lawyers said that his arm hurt and his veins are damaged. They argue that Ohio's lethal injection procedure is flawed and constitutes as cruel and unusual punishment. Romel was scheduled to be executed in June 2020, but his execution was delayed again after Ohio was unable to obtain the chemicals needed for lethal injection. He passed away in prison in December 2020 after he contracted COVID-19. Follow me for more true crime stories, and it's disturbing how
the longest prison sentences in history. At number 5 is Joseph Legend. He has served 67 years and 54 days in prison, and he was released earlier this year. He was convicted of murder at the age of 15. He was released at 83. At number 4 is Joseph Phillips, who served 68 years and 236 days. He was convicted in 1952 of raping a 5-year-old girl. He was paroled in March 2021. Third, with only 9 more days in prison, is Paul Goodell Jr. He served 68 years and 245 days. He was incarcerated in 1911 at the age of 17. He was released in 1980 at the age of 86. Once released, he died in a retirement home 7 years later at the age of 93. In second place, and the only non-American on the list, is an Australian man by the name of Charles Fawcett. He was sentenced to life imprisonment after murdering an elderly man and stealing his boots. And before number 1, write "I'll go to prison" next in the comments and leave your autocorrect finished. He'll write that you'll go to jail. And in number 1, it's Francis Clifford Smith. He's currently serving 72 years and 90 days. He was also sentenced to death for the murder of a night watchman on his way out of a nightclub. But his sentence was changed to life imprisonment in 1954, 2 hours before his scheduled execution. He was lucky.
A white New Jersey man has been sentenced to 8 years in prison for racially abusing his black neighbors.
Get these monkey out of here and you can't do
47-year-old Edward Matthews went viral in July 2021 when he was seen hurling racial abuse at a black neighbor and spitting on him. It later emerged that Matthews had terrorized his black neighbors for years. Victims told how Matthews had fired BB pellets at their cars, called them monkeys, put feces on their properties, and sent them threatening emails and letters. Matthews has been in custody since his arrest and will get credit for the 886 days spent in jail.
Queen Kenya Bezra. Let's get into it.
This is the moment Herbert Smith asks a judge to reconsider his 60-year sentence, and the judge agrees.
Just ask you to please forgive the yard.
Mr. Smith is accused of burglary, probation violation, and grand theft. However, after receiving a 60-year sentence, there was a lot of backlash and public outrage.
I'm here to say that 60 years just does not seem fair and reasonable.
I have been trying to save you, Herbert Smith, for the past 3 years. Clearly, you were still out there leading the thug life.
Fortunately, the judge had a change of heart and gave him another chance.
I have decided to suspend your sentence at 60 years. Mr. Smith, you have become a symbol of a young man at a crossroads. Which path will you choose?
Unfortunately, Herbert Smith was unable to stay out of trouble, and a year after being released, he was rearrested for a breach of his parole. He now faces a lengthy sentence.
The boy walked into the courtroom with a smile, but what he didn't know was that it might be his last. He took the blame for a crime he didn't commit for $2,000, thinking he could escape the law, but he was mistaken. Simon Adams, 15, took the fall for his friend Mike, who had killed several people over 2 weeks. One of the victims was Nathan Trapazzano, shot dead during a morning walk. After Mike was arrested, he falsely accused Simon of being the murderer. Consequently, Simon was arrested and faced the possibility of over 100 years in prison or even the death penalty. Despite this, Simon laughed on his way to court, believing he would be acquitted because he was a minor and had received $2,000 from Mike. However, he was wrong. The overwhelming evidence against him led the judge to perceive him as a dangerous criminal, and he was ultimately convicted of a severe crime.
We kick things off at the Mahoning County Courthouse in Ohio. The two men you see here being taken out of court in handcuffs are Anthony Dees and Jerome Stewart. They were in court today to watch the sentencing of Dale Williams, the man who confessed to the murder of their mother, Elizabeth Pledger Stewart. Williams reportedly stalked the victim, ran her off the road while she was driving, and then shot her on the sidewalk. Shortly after the hearing began, this is what happened. Both brothers simultaneously attacked the defendant. You can see the defendant here, and the brothers here and here. The deputies struggled to get the situation under control. They finally used tasers to help subdue the brothers. They are arrested and charged with contempt of court, assault, and obstructing official business. Both plead not guilty. A few days later, Dale Williams is sentenced to 23 years to life in prison for murder.
You didn't run her over. You hit her and she flew. And she hit the curb and broke her neck. My daughter's eyes was protruding out of her face. She was lifeless. They gave her that shot for her heart to start beating. That's why I had her for 15 days. 2 extra days because I decided to save another child's life and donated her organs. I wear my daughter's ashes around my neck. That's not something. My daughter's birthday is coming up. She gets to see her children. Not only that, Monday, this is why my eye is like this. Why did I even have to cross paths with her at Aldi's when I live on Babbitt? Why is she tormenting me like I killed her child? If you was paying attention, this would have never happened. Period. And then for you to be tormenting me, talking about some you don't want no wreck, I didn't even know that was her.
Hey, look, it's Cassie. Hey, look, hello, Cassie. I'm getting you on tape, okay? Say hi, please. Okay, see ya. Just killed Cassie. We just left her house. This is not a fucking joke. I'm shaking. I stabbed her in the throat and I saw her lifeless body just disappear. Dude, I just killed Cassie. Oh, fuck. That felt like it wasn't real. I mean, it went by so fast.
Shut the fuck up. We gotta get our act straight.
It's okay. Okay, let's buy movie tickets now.
Okay.
Come on.
No.
Goodbye.